This is Harry S. Truman to Attila the Hun from the Heruli. Gepids. Okay, one sec. This one. Dietrich Ninth Heruli. Tenerico 10th kin. Oh wow, 10th kin. Alberico, King of Heruli. Wizimar. Astingi. Mieslaus. Radaxus. Garisigal. Alemani. There's Attila the Hun. And Kreka, King of Ostrogoths. Aliak Dulo. Chimild. Gondorico Vandales. Gepids. Gamelon. Clafo. Arderic. Theodoric. Elamund. Theodora. This is 472. Zakilo. Herzog. Derlangobarden. Ragbod de Astrasia. Walderata. Duca Gisufo. Gisulf the Second de Friuli. Romilda. Loudon de Friuli. Otto de Friul. Ansfried de Pavia. Villa de Friul. Ansprand. Pemo. Pi. Or Pal. And May. Astolf. Anspurge. Turloff de la Ferte. Hanfroy. Gardolf. Herbert de Beaumont. Loup de Bossé. Chevalier Loup d'Argonche. Arnaud de Bossé La Chapelle. Chevalier Hugh de Argonge. Stemvader de Estutville. Almari de Arnaud. Get de Ostitville. Bernard de Argent. Torf. Charles. Amici. Anchetil de Harcourt. Robert de Harcourt. Voltaire. Sulpice de Ambrose. Guillaume de Jalangy. Hughes de Ambrose. Philip II. Guillaume de Harcourt. Ivo de Harcourt de Holland. I believe we're going in the Netherlands here for Holland. Matthew de Holland. Alan de Columbers. Adam de Calais II. The third, Sir Robert Holland. Sir Adam de Blackburn. William de Carleton. Helena. Robert Matilda. Sir John Sherburne. Sir John Blackburn Lord. Sir Robert Sherburne. Baron Robert de Heppy, or Heppel, Robert de Plumpton II, John de Mowbray, Sir William Plumpton, Sir John Sherburne, John de Bailey II, Sir Richard de Sherburne, John de Harrington, William English, Margaret Lebrun, Nicholas Harrington, Richard Bailey, Richard Lawrence Hampton, Richard Sherburne, Richard Hayworth, John de Townley, Richard de Townley, Richard Sherburne II, Alice Hamilton, John Townley, Isabel Sherburne, Alice Booth, Richard Southworth, Robert Hexeth, Grace Townley, Lawrence Townley, Sir Lord Lawrence, Helen Hexeth, John Townley, Isabel Sherburne, James Hartley, John Halstead, Elizabeth Schofield, Lawrence Townley II, Mary Margaret Hartley, Anna Ingram, Christopher Nutter, Thomas Smith, Jane Hobbs, Thomas Smith, Margaret Nutter, Lawrence Townley III, Jenny Halstead, Richard Christian Yarborough, Mary Frances Proctor, Elizabeth Townley, Christopher Smith of Brun, Richard Truman, Henry Truman and Alice Truman. Is that for real? Richard Smith, Eleanor Yarborough, Henry Truman, Jane Hattie Smith, Colonel Robert Potato Hole Wood, Sarah Elizabeth Ferris, John Smith, Hannah Daft, Richard Ferris Woodson, Elizabeth Ann Smith, Richard Truman, Elizabeth Richardson, Abraham Truman, Cecilia Ann White, William Truman, Richard Shipp, James Holmes, Margaret Lewis, Robert Langley Tyler, Margaret Ballard, Captain Jesse Holmes, and Drusilla Nancy Tyler, William Washington Truman Jr., Emma Grant Shipp, Anderson Shipp Truman, Mary Holmes, John Anderson Truman, Martha Ellen Young, Solomon Young, Harriet Louise Gregg, Benjamin Franklin Wallace, Virginia Willock, George Potterfield Gates, Elizabeth M. Emery, Margaret Elizabeth Gates, David Willock Wallace, President Harry S. Truman, and Elizabeth Virginia Wallace. We'll do this and then we'll go King of Gepids, Ardaric de Gepids, 44th. Great. Margus, ruler of Angon, Magur of the Huns, Kinial of the Huns, 80th king of the Huns, Zarabergan, 81st, Kadiha, king of the Huns, Shazel of Magyars, Kulchug of the Magyar, Eater, the Huns, Bekant, Saba of the Huns, Arisilla of Amis, Edeman, Horesmi, Embavar, Ugek, Emiz, Almos, Ene, Arpadhazi, Menmaroti, Zolta, Sloka, Sakini. Is this for real? Oh, 1016, that's why. Anastasia, Magnus Billing, Brun Saxon. Here we go. Otto, Eric, Alika, Sophie, Bernard, Popo, Elizabeth, William, Bertha, Simon, Hawaii's, Robert DeBrent, Isabel, De Montague, Thomas DeBow, Joan Brent, John Denabald, William Paulette, William Martin, Richard Martin, Henry Martin, Francis Martin, Richard Martin, Robert Martin, Joanna Upham, John Martin, Rebecca, oh, the Warners. Okay. Eliezer Warner, Daniel. Okay, here we go. And then John Brent, Robert Brent, Agnes Gosling, Edward Rice, Agnes Bent. Is it? Oh, it was Bent. John Woods, Lydia Rice, Simon Gates. That's wild. Sarah Woods, Silas Gates, Elizabeth Bragg, Samuel Gates, Lucretia Williams, Samuel Gates, Jerusha Russell Clark, George William Gates, Sarah D. Todd, George Porterfield Gates,